My name's Jason Parker. I'm the co-founder and president of Copperworks Distilling on the Seattle waterfront. I was hired in 1989 by Charles and Rose Anne, Vince Catone, and John Farias. So those are the people who built Pike Brewing. At that time it was called Pike Place Brewery. I was in the University of Washington bookstore in 1988. I was looking at the homebrew section of books, and there was a man who was dressed very nicely standing next to me in a suit and a bow tie. As I was looking at the homebrew books, he says, "Are you a homebrewer?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been a homebrewer for about a dozen years." I said, "Are you a homebrewer?" And he says, "I'm involved in it." I thought that was a really interesting answer. About a minute later, he says, "I'm Charles Finkel. I own Merchant de Vin." And I was like, "You import my favorite beers." He says, "Which ones?" I said, "Sam Smith Oatmeal Stout." At that time, that was just my passion beer. He started a conversation with me about that brewery, which I had just visited when I was in England. A couple of other breweries that I had visited, the Caledonia Brewery, etc. And then, as he always does, he introduced me to anybody that he knew. And Roseanne was right across the room. He calls her over, says, "This is my wife, Roseanne." And she is delightful. She's carried on a great conversation. The first thing she says about Scotland is that I'm importing a very small brewery from Scotland, their beer called Traquair House. Well, I had just visited the 20th Laird of Traquair, Peter Maxwell Stewart, and I was wearing the t-shirt that had the Traquair House ale on it. So the three of us are talking there, amazed that we've met each other. There's probably only about three of us in America that knew about Traquair House at that time, and we are all in the same room. So they told me they were opening a brewery in the Pike Place Market and thought it would be great if I applied. Well, I didn't really know what to do for a resume, so I just brought in 2 bottles of homebrew, a bottle of stout and a British pale ale that I had made. And we cracked those open, enjoyed it, had a great conversation. They offered me the job on the spot. When they offered me the job, I took it. And ever since, I have been delighted about this choice of life. It was because of Charles and Roseanne that I was able to be a brewer for a dozen years and now a distiller for 13 more. So all of this I owe to Charles and Rose Anne Finkel. When I think of Charles and Roseanne, I think of passion. I think of education. I think of network and industry support. Those two people bring so much life to both customers and the industry. They're always introducing each other. They're always telling the story. They're always doing good for the community. And that's just been such a great resource for this community and really everywhere they go. One of the interesting things about Charles and Roseanne is that I believe their legacy of Charles and Roseanne will be carried on through all the brewers that they've influenced. They've trained us. They've encouraged us. They've counseled us. They've networked us and introduced us to other people. And one of the best things about them is just how warm and inviting they are in any conversation. They are always the cutest couple in a brewery conference. So I'm delighted that we are able to see them inducted into the Washington Beer Hall of Fame. Cheers.